Let America be America again.
Que América vuelva a ser América.
Let it be the dream it used to be.
Que sea el sueño que solía ser.
Let it be the pioneer on the plane, seeking a home where he himself is free.
CONTRA-TIEMPO means against time, directly translated, but really means the offbeat. It's the idea of the beat that exists in between the two beats, existing in the liminal, that in-between space where the real flavor is, so I love that our company represents truly an incredibly diverse array of the different kinds of Black and brown people that come from the United States of America. Every single one of us as dancers comes from those places of in-between. Our mission is really about dance's capacity to transform the way that we see ourselves, the way that we think about the things that are happening in our world, and our capacity to connect and deal with one another in a really powerful and positive way.
So much easier to think about how community works when you can physically embody it than just someone standing there and saying, this is what a community is.
Específicamente salsa rueda es una forma que usamos para enfocarnos en lo que es la comunidad, ¿no? Lo que es relacionarse, lo que es hacer la interacción positiva, ¿no? Y todo aquello que se pueda aprender por medio del baile que sea de la vida, ¿no?
We do intentionally start our workshops with that form, and it's also a really great way to get people immediately related to one another, immediately out of their own heads about their own body and their own abilities and their own things that they are feeling nervous about. And it's about compassion. I mean, salsa has this capacity to teach. What does it feel like to be over there? What does it feel like to be led or to be followed?
En CONTRA-TIEMPO nos gusta siempre quebrar las tradiciones. Tradicionalmente el hombre es el líder y la mujer es la seguidora, ¿no? En este caso, nosotros simplemente nos gusta usar el título de seguidor o de líder simplemente, porque los dos sexos tienen la capacidad de ser las dos cosas, no ser líder o ser seguidor.
Y podíamos bailar en grupo, y podíamos bailar mejor.
And having salsa be this metaphor of pushing back and resisting, and that without that resistance, you don't actually exist in the conversation, and that resistance is so fundamental and so key for having a healthy society that is engaged in a back and forth.
Frente y atrás. Comunicamos, exactamente.
I told them to break the structure, and I've never seen humans transform so quickly in just that 1 hour.
Sí, es bien importante, sí, esta forma a tener esto, pero yo quiero que ustedes relájense, ¿sí? Quiero que piensen que están en una fiesta, que pueden venir para acá abajo, para acá arriba, tener un poquito de actitud, como...
A lot of the forms that we're using, they originated somewhere, and what we always bring to the forefront before we teach it is the history of it. Take stepping, for instance. It wasn't even a dance form. It was a way of communication in South Africa. The miners used it as their way of communicating. And then when the slaves were brought over to America, then it was put on as a show. And then the fraternities took a hold of it, and they started using it kind of thing of introduction into the fraternities. And now it's become something much more global. If you didn't know and you just saw the people were stepping and hitting their bodies and stuff, it's like, that's really cool, but I really want to know what that's about.
To be given that liberty to say this is your opportunity to express yourself in the way that you want to express, and to watch them go from like scared and timid to doing this at the end.
You don't have to tell me that you got it, because I can see that you got it.
Dos preguntas. La primera, ¿por qué yo bailo? Y el segundo pregunta que yo quiero que ustedes pregunten a sí mismos es ¿qué mensaje yo estoy comunicando cuando yo bailo?
Principalmente creo que es la energía, la autenticidad del trabajo, cómo ustedes se han presentado, siendo tal vez ustedes, siempre a veces como uno como profesor tiende a poner una barrera y no llega al alumno. Esta vez se ha roto y eso es para mí principal para poder comunicarme con el alumno, ¿no? Estudiante.
En todo estilo, no importa cuál sea, o sea, en todos estilos tenemos la fuerza, la energía, las ganas de seguir. Entonces, estar en esta clase realmente me motivó mucho más a demostrar más mi personalidad en cada baile.
Y la verdad es que en estas clases me sentí otra persona, porque no sabía que podía hacer esto, ¿no?
Es increíble que en dos días y en pocas horas, ustedes que son de muy lejos, nos hagan sentir aquí como en familia todos. O sea,
a través del baile.
A través del baile.
Esta clase fue bien importante porque mi mamá nació en Guayaquil. So, para empezar, el tour de nosotros aquí en Guayaquil no sé, no hay palabras para decir cómo me siento estar aquí. Pienso que me está dando goosebumps. Y como siempre ustedes van a estar parte de mi historia y mi vida y quién yo soy. So, gracias por eso.
For him, being able to come home in many ways to, his patria, to like actually be able to visit the place where his ancestors were born and even his mother grew up, and be able to give back in this way has just been so incredibly moving and has reminded me a lot of my own experience in going back to Cuba.
We had a day off and I got a chance to spend with my family, and I got a chance to see my grandmother and part of my family who I haven't seen for 15 plus years. And then we got a chance to go to Quito where my mother was raised, and that to me was the turning point, I think, in my discovery of my identity. We were at the Instituto de Danza Superior, and they gave us a gift by performing La Danza Nacional, the national dance. This was the first time my identity was presented to me. I found out what it meant to be Ecuadorian.
And when we talk about communicating a message, what they communicate is really their culture, who they are and their roles and their history through their dance. And that's still something that's very present day.
Traditional and contemporary are really hand in hand, and I felt that in that moment, sitting there, seeing these young people embody the dances of their ancestors and giving it as a gift.
They were sharing a story about the men of the community, having these drinking problems and getting drunk, and then the women picking up the pieces and embracing and taking them home. And I thought, wow, we think that we're so separate in the world. We forget sometimes that we're all human beings. So we all have these struggles, the struggles of human, the obstacles of humans, with just different faces and different cultures.
I saw into their eyes and I saw their smiles, and I smiled myself and said, that's why I dance as well. We have something in common. Without even speaking to each other, we have something in common. And that is powerful.
We are possibly the first interaction that these young women have had with women from the United States, and it makes me so happy that this is what they're getting to see. That it's not the women on TV, it's not the one in the magazines, it's not the ones that I'm always bombarded with in my face of this is what a woman is.
To represent the United States and to be a tool of communication felt like a really big task. And then to get here and to see that like what we do is the job. We bring people together and inspire them to express and sort of be their best selves, at least for that moment in time.
The theater was very intimate, and everybody at the workshops was there with their parents to see our work.
Their energy from the beginning, we felt. I mean, I think it was like an hour before the show, and the theater was already full of people waiting.
And it was a chance for us to show them a voice from Americans that they probably don't hear all the time.
En la presentación de esta noche podrán observar cómo estos bailarines expresan sus más profundas emociones en relaciones a las experiencias que han afectado a sus comunidades. La alegría y el dolor son emociones universales que en algún momento podemos experimentar, ya sea en Los Ángeles y aquí en Quito. El trabajo que realiza CONTRA-TIEMPO es parte de una orgullosa tradición que tenemos en los Estados Unidos de expresar temas sociales a través del arte, la cual está diseñada para deleitar y a su vez motivar al público a reflexionar.
We also deal with the Latin American story. Are we doing justice to both sides? Are we speaking the truth in a way that's valid for both sides?
Les quiero contar una historia en español. Esta historia no es solo mía. Esta historia es de ustedes.
The U.S. ambassador in Ecuador came to our show, introduced us, and I sat next to him through the entire performance.
Bueno, bienvenidos a todos del Instituto de Danza aquí a este excelente espectáculo.
To see the expressions on the faces of these kids watching and interacting with CONTRA-TIEMPO was really wonderful for me as U.S. Ambassador, because this strengthens ties between Ecuador and the United States.
And when someone at the end of the show said, I never thought that I would see someone from the U.S. express our story, it was super significant.
Do you guys understand what's happening? Yeah. Do you get it? Do you get this is transforming the world? Yes. This is what this looks like. There was one little boy that was in our workshop at El Instituto de Danza.
He was the only boy in the classroom, but he just gave so much flavor and love. I mean, he was not shy at all. He was just like, I'm going to be in the front.
¿Qué te gusta bailar? Porque el ballet es una carrera que puedo seguir adelante, que no me importa si me digan niña, yo sigo.
Así es, que no te importe. Tú eres genial y eres auténtico. Y eso es lo mejor de ti, que nadie nunca te haga sentir que eres menos, ¿ok? Brillas.
I said, you are a dancer. Yes, I am. And I said, and what are you going to do if someone says you can't dance? And that is when he finally lifted his head up off my shoulder and was like, I'm not going to pay attention to that. And he put his head back onto my shoulder and continued squeezing.
And at the end, he came up to me and he said, thank you, because you are an example that dreams can come true. And then he said, thank you for representing Ecuador. And for me, those words will forever remain in my heart.
Siempre baila con esto. ¿Ya?
Muy lindo. Something that I feel like has emerged out of this tour, I'm rethinking and kind of reformulating and re-understanding what resistance means. As I'm thinking about even the way that we're teaching and the way we're talking about resistance, but also within the context of being an American and coming into Latin America, really finding the nuance in resistance, and that resistance can actually be more about compassion and love and listening.
Buenos días. Buenos días. Cecilita, buenos días. ¿Cómo está? Qué bueno. No se dormirá, ¿no? Porque vamos a disfrutar.
aquí en Ecuador y que es importante que no olviden de dónde estamos. Sí.
¿Tienes algún consejo para nosotros?
Hay que prepararse para la vejez. Eso. Ser buenos, hacer un bien cuando se puede, porque eso de repente nos recae sobre nosotros mismos. Entonces digo, hay que llevarse una vida honesta, una vida con cariño.
That wall that we create as performers sometimes, it has to like go down to really be able to connect to the person's heart. And through their wisdom and through their presence, they were able to bring that out in each and every one of us. We were humans that were moving, and that's all we were.
Many times in our everyday life, moving so fast, we kind of think forward instead of actually looking back where we come from and making sure that those people from who we come are cherished and respected and appreciated. And I think it was a real eye-opener for all of us. I think everybody's going to be visiting their grandparents when they go back.
I was able to speak to, I just call her the lady with the smile. She allowed me to see the history of her life, the history of her vida. She had so much to say, but no words. This movement that she had in her face, it's the same as dance.
I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine.
La cosa es que ustedes tienen ese mismo poder. Ustedes pueden hacer lo mismo que nosotros estamos haciendo y empieza en la comunidad. Lo que acabamos de tener experiencia en el asilo de ancianos fue algo inolvidable y me hace pensar que ustedes ahora tienen esa semilla que acabamos de sembrar y no tienen excusa de que ustedes no pueden hacer lo mismo que nosotros estamos haciendo. Sí, somos de Estados Unidos, venimos de lejos, pero ustedes son de Ecuador y ustedes pueden hacer esto mismo, pueden impactar su comunidad igual como nosotros estamos haciendo.
We're not only coming in, teaching these classes, but we're helping to bridge connections within the community and helping people understand their own power that they already have within, which is really, again, what CONTRA-TIEMPO's work is about.
Agradecerles mucho por toda su energía, poder, por la semilla que dejaron, por recordarnos que no hay excusa para poder impactar a toda nuestra ciudad, a todo nuestro país. Gracias por su fuerza, realmente gracias por su magia.
We can inspire those kids to keep dancing so that maybe 10 years down the line they'll be in the position that I am to keep inspiring and keep connecting. You get this feeling of like, wow, this is why I'm dancing.
In the government, especially in the State Department and the embassies, we're constantly thinking in terms of specific countries and what are the Russians doing and the Chinese and the Peruvians and here we are in Ecuador and what are our interests. And you bring in a group of dancers and it wipes all that away. And regardless of what was happening during the day or during the previous week, everyone can enjoy dancing.
And I think the beauty of this program is that it's not about power. It's not about us being more powerful or more strong or more beautiful or more this or more American or whatever. It's about us sharing who we are and really receiving and hearing who they are. And that is the dance of diplomacy that we're engaging in.
And I think maybe the expectation was like to understand a different culture and for us to share our differences with you and you share your differences with us. And what we're finding and what we're unpeeling is our sameness.
Que me mostró que somos iguales, que no necesitamos hablar el mismo idioma, que podemos llegar a los mismos sitios, los norteamericanos y los sudamericanos, que somos completamente iguales y que no hay fronteras. Eso me mostró CONTRA-TIEMPO.
El mundo es de persona a persona y gracias para compartir ustedes y gracias para aceptar nosotros
y ustedes van a estar con nosotros por siempre.